Greetings, I'm Barrington. Welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today I am excited to show you an unboxing of the prototype for Enormity. This is the next big game coming from Into the Unknown Studios. I would like to thank them personally for giving me the opportunity to showcase this game on our channel and be able to give you an idea of what is coming in the upcoming Kickstarter. In this unboxing, I'll quickly show you all the components that, of course, are completely prototype. Everything is subject to change moving forward, but also I will demonstrate some of the mechanics and the mechanisms that are in this game, hopefully giving you an idea of what is in store. Then, of course, I will be doing a playthrough of this coming very, very soon. Now, what exactly is Enormity? Why, it's a 1 to 4 player extraction dungeon crawler with epic boss battles that can be enjoyed at either a one-shot sitting or it can be played in an overarching campaign in a sandbox type way. We're going to be exploring the National Aeronautical and Space Force ship, the Shepherd. And it looks like we already have something from that ship right here. I don't know what this is because it actually came in the prototype locked. How cool is this? So we're going to have to probably either find the code in the unboxing or maybe we'll have to find it while playing through the game. But I don't know the code. I have no idea what's in here. It is super cool. Now there is an awesome QR code on the back of this, and it sent me to a little blurb about this, but I couldn't really find the code in there either. So I'm excited to dig through this, play through this, and find the code and see what is inside that box from the National Aeronautical and Space Force. Now, of course, while you're on the Shepherd, you will be having to deal with terrible looking intruders, but also finding knowledge and scavenging loot as well. Of course, also watching out for boss type alien life forms. And as you dig through the ship, you're going to be able to use what you find to advance your characters, make them more powerful, and be able to take on more things. Now, of course, each round you're going through this, as you're trying to extract things, you're going to get to certain parts of the ship that are safe, and that's where you'll be able to kind of help out your characters and make them better. So if you're excited to see what is inside the Enormity prototype box, and who knows, maybe we can even get into this, then I need you to meet me at the table. Let's take a look of what is in the box and find out what is in store for us here. Now, I do also want to mention that this is a very kind of dark sci-fi theme. It's a kind of a horror-y type theme, kind of the Cthulhu-y type sci-fi theme. So that just be aware of what it is. I don't know any of the pictures or anything in here, but I'm going to guess they're not going to be happy bunnies and neat little unicorns or anything like that that are going to be super pretty and cute. So we're going to dig into this. Got a neat little thing on top here. It looks like we have some of the enemies, I'm going to guess what these are. We'll put these aside and take a look at them again soon. We have a bunch of books here we'll have to dig through. We've got the Location 1 and Location 2 book. We also have, it looks like, the Dark Side of the Sun demo mythos book. This prototype does have a little built-in mini campaign called the Dark Side of the Sun, which is hopefully what I can play through to show you what there is. There is a rule book, 0.31. Now, of course, it is a 0.3, not even a 1. So like I said, this is a complete prototype. It does have some rules. We'll have to read through this. It looks like it's about 45 pages long at the most. So I can read through this and we'll be able to dig right into this game. On top here, it looks like this might be like the countdown tracker potentially, or it could be something else. We also have the sides A through J. So to take a look at what that is, we have a whole set of punch outs. We'll look into these. But before we look at that, I do want to talk a little bit about how these location books work. So from what I gather, here's a little bit of what this is. You're going to have your characters starting in certain areas of the board. You're able to do actions to move around, scavenge, and potentially look at some of the different things out on the ship. These up here are where blips are going to potentially spawn. Those blips could be anything from radio static to potentially aliens or something else that could be bad for you, or it could be something good depending on the game. And as you move through here, you're going to hit certain areas of the board that then are going to make you revert to this other book that then you would set next to this one and give you an area of being able to move across different places. So for example, these might match up here, or if say your characters go up here and there's this locked door but they're able to unlock it, they could potentially move that book up to that area there and be able to open it up from over there, which then when they cross over to here would bring us back down over to here and things of that nature. So the books are kind of intermixed and are able to put yourself in different areas of the ship, which is kind of cool. And of course, there'll be more than just this one set of maps in these books, but from the prototype here, we really only have the two different maps that we have. So these are going to be used for this mini campaign, and we'll have to see how it all plays out. But I think the map book is kind of cool how it does that. And like I said, just because you see these two books together, that might not be it. Something else could open over here, and it might make you go to like a different page in the book, and then you'd have to move that book over to this side. So it kind of keeps the board relatively stable. You're not having this big expansive map all over the place, but it also depends on how many books they put in here. But for now, we have these two, and I just quickly wanted to explain to you what these two types of books and how they are working together. We also have, like I said, the Mythos book. This is going to be how we're going to go through our campaign. It'll tell us kind of what cards to get ready and everything. And like I said, the art in here, actually, from what I've seen so far, is really cool, but it's not exactly the nicest art. It does say this is for ages 14 plus. It did say that on the box. So the art and the content in this game is going to be a little bit graphic for young people, but it does tell you how to set everything up. Now, the cool thing about this is in the back, it's going to have different things now, and you're looking for extractions. You may not only find items, but you also may find like individual numbers that you go to in these books and have to read through and deal with. And it could make your characters become more hyperactive. It could make your characters gain more adrenaline. It could make your characters become more panicked based on what is in these story moments inside of these books. So that is what this book is all about. And the final book, like I said, is our rule book that has all of our rules we're going to have to learn about in here. And it has a really cool way of moving things around. One thing I should talk about is how our characters and blips move. It's kind of interesting. So the blips, as you noticed, are actually outside of this map. They're out here, and they move on the nodes. If you can see the nodes here, it's going to move on these nodes based on potential dice rolls or the way, how much noise you make, or things of that nature, or just it could be how the blips are going to move on their turn. And they're going to move out on these grids. And even inside the ship, they're moving on the grids, where our characters, they're going to be moving on our normal spaces here. They're going to be moving on these normal spaces. Our characters are going to be equipped with potential light sources that can see into certain areas of the ship. And if they're able to illuminate one of these blips, then we can see what it is. And hopefully it's nothing. Hopefully it's like an echo of some kind. But of course, it could be a bad guy. And then we'd have to deal with it. So that's, again, one of the cool things about this is the way those two different types of things interact. Now we have, of course, all of our punch boards. Our first punch board has some radiation tokens up here, also has our dead spacer tokens, which are usually not very good to have. These are going to be infection tokens right here. These are going to be anagrams that you can find, engrams as you go through the game. We have, these are those blips that I was talking about. And if you flip these over, they're all double-sided. So here are our blips, potentially nothing or potentially something coming out. These down here are cool. These are the discovery tokens. So as we punch these out and put them on the board, some of the tokens that you place out there, you're going to place out based on numbers, and those are going to be automatic things you find as you go through when you get to that particular spot. Otherwise, it may tell you to put out a question mark set of them. Maybe it'll tell you take numbers 5, 6, 7, and 8 and mix them up and put them out randomly or something. And then you pick those 4 up and put them out. This is our extraction token. This is where we're trying to get to within the allotted time. There is kind of a timer in this game. It's not a full timer, but as you go down the timer, the area of where you are becomes more and more dangerous until it reaches like a 0 hour. When it reaches a 0 hour, it doesn't mean it's over, but it becomes a very challenging place to be, and you want to try to get to that extraction point as fast as you can. And only one of you needs to make it there, but at least one of you needs to make it there. That's the deal. Otherwise, things will get really, really bad. We also have, these are just different numbers that you can use for the game. And these up here are going to be suppression power tokens. They're 1 and 2s over on this side. I think that's everything on that one. Now, remember when I said that I thought these were potentially a countdown tracker of some kind? That is wrong. Here is our countdown tracker. It is this large track right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And these are the amount of turns you have inside the area of the ship you're in before things get bad. You start with 9 most of the time, depending on what your mission says. And as it counts down, it's going to become more and more difficult until you reach that 0 hour over in this area. We do have some of our enemies there. These are intruder standees, a couple of them there. These are our player standees. This game does come with miniatures as well, but in the prototype, it looks like you have both, so you can choose which ones you want to play with. These again are just some more engrams, and then we have some key cards that we can use to potentially open doors. Yes, there are doors that we may need to open in this game, and here's the back side of it. And notice there's no picture on here. In this game, there is a chance that while you're playing it, that facing actually will matter based on certain rules in the game. So being able to know which direction you or the enemy is facing may have a difference in how things turn out. Next, we have doors. Here are our doors. There are going to be shut and opened, and once you open a door, it usually is removed from the area of the ship for the remainder of the mission, of course, unless something tells you otherwise. We do have our one boss in this. This is the boss monster standee. It's like the Mothman standee. Let's punch this guy out and just take a look at it. This is what the Mothman looks like. It looks super cool, and there is a whole set on how to set him up. He's got his own AI deck and things of this nature, and he has all his little stats up here, and of course it's going to be doing different things, so some things are going to be bad. Then of course we have our normal enemies as well. We have our Automas, which is going to have its own set of rules, and I'll explain a lot of how this works when we do our playthrough. But they do have a full thing just for the enemies, which is pretty awesome. So each of these enemies are going to act completely different. It does have some scenario-specific material, which I bet is going to be for our boss fight. We have cachet tokens down here so that we can maybe get some better items than what we come with, so that we have a chance against some of these boss monsters. That'd be bad news. All right, here's the last of the ones that we have here. These are going to be spacer tokens. They're double-sided. You're going to be able to gain these, or you're going to gain these potentially on some of your turns, and then if you can pass these tokens to the next player that is able to use them. This company has done a game also called Aeon Trespass Odyssey, and you may remember how this system works, where when one person does something, they leave potential tokens for another player to be able to activate and use. And once that person's done, those tokens are removed, and the ones that the next player puts in then continues to cycle through, so that everybody gets a chance and potentially can plan out a way of working together. This game is 100% fully cooperative, so being able to tell each other kind of what tokens they may need or be able to have help with could influence how the outcome of the game turns out. Up here we have some of our charge tokens and our ammo tokens for our weapons that we find in the game, and they are double-sided, so this could put in there like 1 or 2 of these particular things in there. So those are, I believe, all of the punch boards. Yes, it is. Those are all the punch boards. We do have these secret envelopes, which may have the code to our box in. I don't know. I'm still super pumped about that box. So we'll have to play through the game and find out if any of these are going to be the code for that box. Of course, it could still be inside this unboxing. I haven't gotten all the way through. Okay, let's dig into this part. And right away, we see exactly what I was talking about earlier, the incoming and active tokens. So these are those tokens that are going to be moving from here to here that then the next character can use, which I think is a really cool system. These are going to be, each character is going to gain one of these. This is your class and suit, and these are going to be in between both of your class and your suit, and it's going to have all the information your character is going to need. Based on the stats and how your character is performing, you're going to be putting this Rubicon onto your character, and I'll show you how that works when we get to the character and suit cards in just a second. This right here is where you're going to be able to put your stack of item cards that you're going to be able to get, because they are going to be dual-sided, so they have a cover card for it, and then right down here you have the ability to kind of pull a card from the bottom, and that'll be the card that you pull out. So you'll be always drawing from the bottom of these, and it gives you the ability to cover all that up. It does come with card sleeves because you're going to be creating your own action deck, and I will show you that in just a second. It does have custom dice that are going to be used for this game. Some are going to be attacking dice, some are going to be danger dice, some are going to be power dice, so we'll be rolling different dice based on what you're doing in the game. These are going to be the standees for our enemies that we're using, and of course our players as well. So we have those, oh no, those are the standees. These are the standees for our players and everything. The other ones might be for the doors maybe that are coming in here. I'll have to take a look. Yes, they're for the doors. This right here, which I originally thought was something else, is actually a coordinate ruler. So you're able to look at coordinates on the board based on where you are. These are how you can measure those type of things. This is super cool. This is to find out if you have died. This is your lifeline. You're going to check your, when you flatline, you're going to stick a card, your flatline card that you draw into here, and it'll show you whether or not you have died or if you are come back. This game has what's called an inverted combat paradigm. The way it works is as you take damage or the enemy takes damage, they actually become stronger, or they have more of a will to fight or more of a will to survive. And so they have a tendency to become a little more powerful, gain more tokens that they can use on their turns. So your characters have but of course, if they reach too much of a certain threshold, they may die. If they gain too much adrenaline, they'll have a heart attack. If they gain too much of stress, they could potentially die from stress as well. So you don't ever want to it's a neat balance on how you want to use as much. You could use your resources to help yourself in battle, but it could become more powerful. But you potentially it could tip you over the edge and cause you to die. So this is pretty cool. I'm going to show you how that works hopefully in a second here. We do have some more of our cards in here. We're going to look at some of these. Sadly, I don't know what is spoilery and what's not. I'm only going to know that I guarantee you the stuff in the envelopes we're not going to open because I don't want to look at those. But we'll take a look at all of these things. The first thing we have is our characters. They're all from different divisions. We have 2 ops, a science, a security, and engineering division, and they're all a little bit different. As you can tell, their stats are on the right here are a little bit different. These are their base stats. This character, of course, is a little bit better at strength because it's part of the engineering, where the security is going to be, looks like, better at willpower or something of that nature. And each one is kind of and each character does have their own special ability they can use. That they have access to as well. Down here, they're also going to have little abilities too, where they can use 2 of these if they're in that pool to be able to move another spacer 1 if they want to. This one, I'll cover you, give 1 intruder token. So there are, each of these have like a couple different things they can do that are going to, on top of that, if you notice, they're handing out different tokens to that pool based on where they are. Now, of course, you have to beat these thresholds. This is where you're starting stress is going to be, and as that moves up, you're of course going to be having access to some of these stats. And then on top of that, they're each going to have a suit. Now the suits are all the same because they're all going to start with the same basic suit. It's the starting, what is it, starting standard EVA suit. And it has like an ability to help a person up, and they all have the reflex action here. They all are able to hold 3 things, have something that they can attach. They all have their own same light source that's attached to it, which of course, as you go through the game, you can upgrade. There's a colored bar here, which might have something to do with some of the scenarios, but it's not really, there's not really something at the beginning of the game that it does. Now, of course, like I said, those are going to sit in between this track. And then you're going to have 3 different things. You got like a Rubicon thing here that sits in this location that could potentially push this up. On top of that, you're also going to have a stress indicator that is going to be sitting in here based on your starting stress. And you're also going to have a red marker as well, which is going to symbolize your vitals, basically your health. And the cool thing about this is as these move, they're going to be taking, if you take damage, you're going to move this down, let's say a couple and things of that nature. And this one's going to move up and so forth and so forth by being able to re-roll. If they ever cross, that's not good. It's going to cause a certain condition that you're going to have to deal with as well. And of course, these will all reset as you go to the next round. So they're flying out, sorry about that. But they do stick in there. I'm just holding this almost upwards so I can show it into the camera. But these, if laid flat, they work totally fine. Yeah, perfect like that. So just a heads up, that's kind of how this works. So you're going to have your character and your suit sitting like this, and you're going to be, and those are and you of course have all your different abilities and all the things that your suit can do as well. And each character does play differently. They all, like I said, have their own abilities and their own attributes. Then we have some of these, the flatline cards. There's 4 of them. So if you ever reach flatline, I believe you just mix these up. You draw one of these, and then you'd stick it into your little scanner. Let's do this because it'd be awesome. So of course they are red, and they're going to have this red thing here. You flip it in here. This one says, you died. Oh no, I died. But then I roll apparently a die, and if I get a 0, I think that says here, you have a touch of enormity. You feel your insides fill with burning glorious light. All right, whatever that means, I have no idea. But so we would have died if that would have been our character. That would have been sad, sad, sad. So we do have some flatline cards. We do have some exert cards. So in this game, you're going to be taking 3 actions a turn, and the action cards are very unique. So here is a set of action cards that you're going to get, and they're going to be based on your character and your suit most of the time. From this, what I understand, these are coming straight from our suit. Our suit on the back here does show that we are going to have steady walk, desperate measures, and hurried walk. This talks about our standard suit. And then on the back of our characters, we also get the cautious sneaking and stressful brainstorm and anxious sneaking. So those are the 6 cards we get. Then you have to decide how to order them, and you have to put them in these sleeves and decide which ones you want back to back. So say you want to have this one these are the ones I put together. So I have like cautious sneaking and I have steady walk. So as I play my character, I'm going to play down my 3 cards. You normally want to play your 3 cards. There's no reason, there is reasons not to, but for the most part, you're going to be playing all your action cards at during your turn. So for example, if I played them in this order, I would be able to move 2 spaces and make then I have to make a noise roll, or I could use this to fast reload if I use one of those icons or one of those tokens that I might have in the pool. Then I decided to do a hurried walk because I want to get somewhere, and I move 3 spaces and I make a noise roll. And if preceded by another walk, I have to gain stress to gain 1 of those for your next melee attack, one of those symbols that I can use. And then let's say we did both those, and then I did a desperate measure. So I knew there's an alien down there, so I moved like 5 spaces to get close to him so I could get my extra bonus and then fire at him. So I'm going to make an attack, and I'll make my attack with this card. And those would be the 3 actions I do on my turn. Now I could have, if I wanted to, maybe not put this card with this one. I could have swapped these out in any order I wanted to hopefully give myself a great set of actions that I could be doing on my turn. But of course, once you set these during the mission beginning, they, I believe, stay like this until you're extracted. Of course, there might be something in the game or the story that allows you to swap some of these around, but for the most part, from what I understand, when you make your character and you go into the extraction, you're going to have to set the cards you want with the actions you want back to back like this. This is super cool. I like this because it gives you the ability to use multiple cards, but it's not just like, oh, this is my 1 card, I have to choose which one. No, I could be like, I really want a guy that moves fast, so I can put this with this other card over here and maybe have quick movement and speedy movement at the same time, so I can move like 6 squares around the board, but I have to roll a lot of noise. So that's a really neat system. And then on top of that, if 3 actions weren't enough, you could grab an exert card, which then can also give you yet again another action. And at the end of the turn, you're going to gain these cards back, but these are going to stay out. And if you want, you also have an ability called Catching Your Breath, which you're going to be able to get rid of some of these exert tokens and also kind of alleviate some of the stress and adrenaline that you're gaining as you're moving through the ship. But of course, I think that's like your whole action for the turn. I'm learning a little more as we go, but I believe that's kind of how that works. So it gives you a way of kind of resetting your character a little bit while still being in the game. So like some of these are going to be, this one says, exert, do not clear this card at the start of your turn. This card is considered a played action card. So you get that ability to do something on that turn because you really need to do something, but you can't get rid of it. Now you can only play 2 the next turn unless, of course, you try to rest to get rid of that card. There are different condition cards that you can gain through the game. They're just impairments. For example, you could get blinded, you could get dazed, you could get knocked down. There's the gift. You could get the gift. No idea what that is. We'll keep that like that. Okay, so those are some of the conditions you can gain. There are, of course, quest-specific cards for this, and this is just a demo, so I only have a demo set of cards that we can go through. We also have these as well. Xenocrypt, I don't know what those are. Here are our stress breakdown cards. That's if the 2 things cross. I believe you go through a stress breakdown where you draw one of these cards, and I would become violence. I'd gain violence, and I'd have to deal with this particular card. It might be something that stays out forever, or maybe it's a one-time thing. We have traits. We have the Mothman's cards. These are all the different AI cards for the Mothman. You'll build the deck in certain ways, and you can choose to play it if you want. The Prototype has a singular type of difficulty, but the game itself will have potentially 3 different difficulty levels you could play on. Even this does come with a harder version of the Mothman if you want to try to take him down. I'd probably be lucky if I take him down by myself. These are different discoveries that we'll find during our demo. Now, playing through it, you may not find all the discoveries, giving yourself more replayability to try to find more out about what is going on this ship through the campaign, or of course single scenarios. Next set of cards are scan cards. Remember those blips that we saw during our what do you call it, punch boards? They could potentially flip over something that shows like a white dot. That means you'd scan a white card and you'd scan it to see what happens. So you'd scan the white card and we'll see what happens here. If I can get it in the little slot there, it's not too tough. Just get it right in there. Come on, Baron, you can do it. There we go. This one says F2. I'm not sure what that means. Let's scan another one and see what happens. We'll scan this one and see what this one says. This one says B1. So potentially maybe some blips go out on these particular areas of the board. We have B4. So this is just like your motion scanner, like you may have heard like in like a movie such as like Aliens or something like that. These are going to be where the blips are. I believe you scan these to see what happens. Let's scan a black one. I'm sure this one's going to be really good. Let's say like boss monster comes out and you get eaten. Let's see what it says. Let's put it in here, just see what it says here. This one has stuff all over it. I don't even know what that means. We'll have to see what all that means. But I'm going to guess all those little symbols are not good. So these are the scan cards. I think they're kind of cool that the blips, you don't just flip them over. You flip over the blip to see what card you draw, but then I think you scan it and you'll see what is going to actually happen to you. I think that's kind of cool. The next set of cards are some of our weapon cards. I'll quickly kind of go through what you're seeing on this card. The first thing is it shows you what dice you're going to attack with. The next is you could have a modifier, which this one doesn't have, but here we go. We can use one of these to help modify this attack. This is the range, so 4 for that gun. This is 0. On top of that, the next thing we have is the suppressing power. So if you don't actually kill an enemy, that will leave suppressing tokens on it based on this number here. This is its crit value, how easy it is to crit. The more of these red symbols you see around it, the easier it is for this particular weapon to crit the enemy. Some of them are going to have noise that you have to roll. So this one, for example, would roll this noise. They also have, some have like abilities down here. And it also might have, this one, for example, has like a burst here. These have bullets because it is a, what does it say? Probably a polymer rifle, where this one is a pistol. This is also going to show you how many hands it takes, 1, 2, 3, or 4 hands. Potentially some of the suits will be able to have extra hands attached to them so you can hold more things. Let's see what else is on here. Oh, we have different tags for the weapons. So potentially there could be cards or something that you can equip to this maybe. I don't know. I haven't played through the game yet that you can put these tags may come in, may have some semblance into the game. I think that's really all there is for the weapons and what they do. There is some equipment here that, of course, this one will maybe give you more light because it's a, was it a headlamp? That's fantastic, which will be able to see farther down the corridor, potentially seeing the blips before they get to you. That is it for the weapons. Next, we have stratagems, which you may be able to gain some help with. For example, you might, for example, here's Last Stand. Activate, flip this card when there are 8 of these tokens on here. So if I'm able to get 8 of these on here, I can flip this over and take advantage of this particular power, from what I understand. And then I believe these are Solar Ring Loot Deck. This is consists of, so that's just telling you what the loot deck is consisted of. But here, I believe, are going to be things that can upgrade some of the enemies, like making them a little bit different than just regular enemies. For example, I might find this guy that has long legs, which means it might have better movement, and it also, causes knockdown. So it might give one of the enemies out there a little bit more of a different feel than all the enemies being exactly the same. We still haven't found our code. I don't know if it's in here or not. Maybe it's inside this. I'm not going to open that. Then we have a bunch of miniatures. This game, like I said, it has standees, but it also has the miniatures as well. These miniatures look really super cool. Here are our heroes that we're going to be playing with. These are the different, and you can choose, you can't take your character, and of course it has a little thing where you're going to have out here. Each one of these the suits themselves and the characters kind of match each other here. So for example, this would be maybe the engineer character. This would be the maybe a scientist. I'm guessing the one that's holding a gun is going to be the military guy that we have in here. These are some of the enemies. We have two different types. These guys here, these are the Otomas, I believe is how you pronounce that. I could be completely botching it. But these look really cool and look like they'd be fun to paint up. This is the, oh, look at these guys. These guys look super creepy. These guys are the Grin is what they call these guys. The Grin because it's smiling at you. That's kind of awesome. All right, and then this is the boss, the Moth. This is that Mothman. Look at this. I really like the fact that like it almost looks almost like kind of robotic but kind of humanoid at the same time, where it's kind of got this stuff just draped. These, I believe, I wouldn't doubt that these like a solar sails or something that it has, which are super cool. I don't know the lore behind this monster, but it looks really neat. So I'll put this back. And of course, all these are prototypes, so the miniatures may actually even get better as they go through production. And you know what? Why don't we check to see if it's underneath here? Nope. There's no code underneath that either. All right, so we went through the unboxing and we didn't find the code. So I'm guessing we'll have to play through the campaign to figure out what the code is to get into our box. That'll be super cool. So there you have it. That is the unboxing of Enormity. This is a prototype from Into the Unknown Studios. Again, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to showcase this game. If you did like the unboxing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell symbol so you know when the playthrough for this comes out. Also, I will make sure to put a link to the Kickstarter in the description of this video. And when it goes live, you will get notified and you'll be able to back this game if it's something you are interested in. This game is right up my alley. It is a sci-fi dungeon-y crawler kind of horror-y type thing. I'm super pumped to get into this. I cannot wait. Now, after seeing this, I would love to hear what you have to say. Please put some comments in there. Are you excited for this game? Have you not heard of it? Is it something that is going to be exciting for you to play? I'd love to know what you have to say about this game in the comment section below. Also, if you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out the link to the Patreon. The link to that is found in the description of this video as well. Those that have joined the Patreon are shown here on the screen. Thank you so much for your patronage. It means the world to me. The people that are part of our Patreon do get a few great perks. One of them is they get to watch all of Colin and my playthroughs, usually about a day or two ahead of time without commercial interruptions. On top of that, when it comes to these campaign type games, we give them the ability to help decide what characters are going to be part of our group. Also, as we get to points where we need to level up our characters or find new gear for them, we give our Patreon supporters a chance to help us decide how our characters develop and move through the game, giving them the ability to affect the games that we play. So there you have it. Again, an unboxing of the prototype for Enormity. If you're excited to see this or anything else that Colin and I have coming up, then I need you to meet me at the table.